Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Way Back Movies. I'm James, and in today's video, we're going to do something a little different. This is a new series of videos I've come up with. It is my top 10 series, and for the first one, this is going to be my top 10 favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. Hey guys, thanks for checking out the video. Like I said, this is going to be a new series I do. It's my top 10 lists. I guess kind of David Letterman-esque. It can be various different top 10s. This one, like I said, is going to be the top 10 favorite Arnold movies, but the others are going to vary. Some of them will be the same thing, top 10 movies by a certain actor or actress. Some of them are going to be like my top 10 favorite movies of all time, top 10 worst movies, so on and so forth. There'll be different types of top 10 lists on there, so you can stay tuned for that. But like I said, this is the first one. This is going to be my top 10 favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. Now, this isn't necessarily his performance in the movies, just my overall whether I like the movie or not. Obviously, his performance does matter a lot in that regard. But obviously, this list is very subjective, so yours will be much different than mine. Well, maybe not much different, but a little bit different. And if it is, let me know in the comments down below what your favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies are, what your favorites of all time are. Any that I may have left off this list that you think should have been included, let me know in the comments down below. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so for number 10, I have picked The Running Man. If you haven't seen The Running Man, this is one you want to check out. It's kind of like a reality show before reality shows. Now, it came out in the 80s, and it does take place in the future. So maybe whoever wrote it had a, had a kind of a crystal ball there. It's basically, if you don't know the premise, it's like a game show. It's called The Running Man. It's where people that are hardened criminals or have committed crimes can take place in this reality game called The Running Man, where they have to go through this obstacle course while people try to kill you during it. So if you make it to the end, then you get let go for free. Of course, no one ever makes it to the end until Arnold comes along and he gives it a shot. And basically, his character is one who was, I don't know if he was a police officer or he was military, but he was wrongly accused of this massacre, killing a bunch of people that they kind of clipped and framed him on. So he has to go through The Running Man. And it's a pretty cool movie. It's not, you're not going to see these amazing, cool special effects. Some of the costumes that the people that are chasing Arnold and his cohorts go through are kind of lame looking now. They don't hold up well over time, but it's still it's a cool action movie. You've got Arnold in it. It's one he's with Jesse the Body Ventura. This is one of the two movies he was together in. Yaphet Kotto, who just recently passed away from Aliens fame, he was also in this one too. So it's a cool movie. Definitely, if you haven't seen it, you want to check that one out. All right, for my number 9 favorite Arnold movie, I went with Last Action Hero. I know this movie doesn't get a lot of love from people sometimes. They don't think this is one of his best. I think it's pretty good. I enjoyed it. I've seen it, definitely one I've seen multiple times. Just the whole premise of the movie, just kind of making fun of, the cliche action movie, and kind of giving that wink, wink kind of, look at it, where he doesn't realize he's in a movie, that kind of thing. I definitely think it worked pretty well. I did recently pick up the 4K edition of that one, but I haven't checked that one out yet, so I don't know how it looks. But definitely, it's just a cool, fun movie. It's not his best, but as far as the story and the premise of the movie, I definitely like that. So yeah, and plus it's got a cool bad guy that has a fake eye, and it's got different, like Have a Nice Day and stuff on there. So how can you not like that? All right, for number 8. On this list is going to be Twins with Arnold and Danny DeVito. I thought about putting this a little bit higher on the list, but I finally just settled at 8 because it's hard to rank these. But definitely love this movie. This is, it's a departure from a lot of his other stuff, because usually there's a lot of, you've got action and then you've got the comedy. There's a little bit of action in this one, but it's basically, a story-driven movie, and, with the comedy on that and the fact that they're twins. I honestly think that Danny DeVito kind of stole the movie a little bit from Arnold, to be honest, in this one, which doesn't usually happen when Arnold's in the movie. Usually he's the center of attention, whether he kind of wants to be or not. But I really do think the character Danny DeVito played kind of stole a lot of his thunder in this one. Not that Arnold's not good in it, but overall, the two of them worked really well together. I mean, you couldn't have found for twins, and they're supposed to be different. You couldn't have found two more polar opposite actors to play those two characters. So worked out really well. Late Kelly Preston is in this one as well. So definitely a fun movie. One of those that I've seen a bunch of times, and I'm sure I'll watch a bunch more in the future. All right, so for my number 7 movie, I went with Total Recall. This one, I mean, it's just a cool Arnold action movie here. The premise is really cool. It's as far as I know, it's the only movie where he kind of deals with space in any way. I can't think of anything else where he goes into outer space. But just a whole premise. Going to Mars, his mind has been erased, and you don't really know. And they kind of tease at it at the end, especially oh, is this real? Or because everything that happened is everything that he asked for when he went to recall to have the implanted memories for his adventure. So like everything he wanted is exactly what happens. So they kind of tease like, well, maybe this is maybe he's just going to wake up and this is just going to be his trip, or is this actually really happening in real life? It's just a cool action movie. The actors in this were great. You got Arnold, obviously, kicking ass in this one. Sharon Stone, I think, was really cool as his wife, or his fake wife. Wife in there. You've got Michael. I think it was Michael Ironside was the bad guy, or one of the bad guys in there, that was trying to kill him the whole time. And then I don't remember the actor's name, but the guy that played the mutant that was driving him around in the taxi with I got 5 kids, man. And the kids changed, depending on when he said it. I just love that character. It's just a really cool, action movie. Definitely one of my favorites. All right, for number 6 on my list, this one was a little tough. I thought about placing it a little bit higher, but just settled on 6, and that is going to be Terminator. Original 1984 Terminator. Love this movie. Just such a cool storyline. Terminator coming back to try to kill Sarah Connor, the mother of the future resistance leader. It does. You do have to suspend disbelief a little bit. There's a few plot holes in this one. I always thought, well, if that Terminator was killed, why don't they just send another one right away? But whatever. It's just a cool action movie. Arnold, I think as far as like at least his major blockbuster movies, I'm pretty sure this is the only one where he was the bad guy in it. Usually, maybe the Batman, that crappy Batman and Robin, or whichever Batman he was in. But really, this is where he was. He's usually the hero. So this one, he's the bad guy, and it's just that menacing, Terminator, no expression. Just looking to kill. He did such an amazing job in that one. Just like I said, the premise was cool. Everybody involved did a great job. It was just such an amazing movie. And then it spawned, some of other great movies as well. So definitely up there in my top Arnold movies. All right, for number 5, we're halfway there. Number 5, I picked Predator. Now, this is another one I know might be a little bit higher on some people's lists. I love Predator. It's not one of those ones I go back to and watch a whole bunch like other Arnold movies are, but definitely love this one. I mean, this is just like pure action, pure ass kicking, badass dudes in the jungle. I mean, how can you not love Jesse the Body Ventura's like super machine gun or whatever that thing was, cannon that he was carrying around? I mean, that thing it might as well just said badass right on the side of the gun. It's just, I mean, just amazing. In the jungle, green, I don't know if they're Green Berets or whatever, doing their thing. You've got the Predator, which was a completely different type of character. You can't see him, he's invisible. Just the storyline was really cool on that one. Everybody did an amazing job on that. And then it, spawned a whole bunch of others that, I could probably do without. Especially when you go to part 2. It's hard to go from Arnold to Danny Glover chasing. I don't even think I've even seen all of the second Terminator just because. But the first one definitely just such a badass action movie. So that comes in at number 5 for me. All right, for number 4, some people might be surprised this one's a little bit higher on the list than some of these other movies. and that is Kindergarten Cop. Love this movie. It's not the typical Arnold kicking ass action movie. I don't know if this was the first one that really he didn't. I don't know if this one came out before Twins or not. Maybe he was trying to do a little bit less action in that one, but there is some action in this, especially at the beginning when he's trying to capture Crisp. But it's more of him and like the comedic role and dealing with the kids. Obviously, he's just this hardened cop and he's not used to dealing with that. So it's just a cool, just a fun movie to watch. Love the dialogue between Arnold and the kids. It's just something totally different. The kids were just funny as hell and amazing in this one too. Just such a really good movie. Not, like I said, not the typical Arnold kick ass, or not even like that hybrid, half funny, half action. It was almost all. It was probably like 90%, dialogue and kind of funny stuff, and then like 10% action in this one. But just definitely a cool movie. I know, so I'll probably piss some people off because I put this above Terminator and Predator, but as far as my list goes, subjective list, this one I find a little bit better than those two. Not a lot, but a little bit better. To come in at number 4 better anyway. All right, for number 3, just when I was talking about half action, half comedy, for number 3, I'm going with Commando. We had this on VHS when I was a kid, and I wore that tape out. I've seen this movie so much. I used to be able to just quote the entire movie. It is such a cool action movie. You have to suspend some disbelief on this one. Arnold probably isn't going to take on like a whole army of dudes all by himself, but if you look past that, just the sheer number of one-liners in this movie is worth the price of admission you have paid to have seen this. He has so many funny one-liners in this thing, it's ridiculous. It's just it's funny, there's action, he's kicking ass, he's telling jokes. You got Ray Don Chong in this one. I mean, it's just such a fun movie. If you want to see Arnold just blowing crap up and just killing a bunch of dudes, this is the one that you want to see. And then also being funny, really on top of that. I don't know if this is the first one really where he kind of put that out there that he was real funny, or he can make funny jokes on top of the action. But it's definitely one of the earliest ones and one of my favorites. Definitely love this movie. All right, so we're down to the top 2 here, and you haven't heard some movies that you're probably expecting to hear, so you can kind of guess a little bit on this one. For number 2, I went with True Lies. I love this movie. I think this movie is great. I think it's a crime and injustice that is not available in Blu-ray or 4K, at least here in the United States. I think the Blu-ray might be in some other countries. But as far as here, unless you go like a Stinky Tuna or something like that, it's not available. Such a crime. This movie is it's just an amazing movie. Like literally every character that's in this movie, I don't think they could have got a better person to play that role. Like Arnold is awesome in it, as the spy, and then you've got Jamie Lee Curtis as his wife, who doesn't realize that he's a spy. It's a secret. She thinks he works at a computer company because, of course, I work in computers, and there's so many people that look like Arnold Schwarzenegger that work there. But yeah, that's what they went with. So you've got him as the computer, working in the computer company, but secretly a spy. And then the movie is good when Tom Arnold is really funny in the movie. That alone right there should tell you, when you can make Tom Arnold a funny, likable character in a movie, then you've done a good job writing. And then even Bill Paxton as the shady used car salesman who's trying to hit on Arnold's wife, and just that whole scene where they get the two of them, capture them, and have set up on that kind of that fake spy mission. It's so funny, and it's, like I said, still got the cool action, but it's so funny. It's just such a great movie. Definitely one of his best. I really, really hope that James Cameron finishes up his 82 Avatar movie soon and can put some focus into a 4K, at least a Blu-ray, but preferably a 4K version of True Lies. I would totally just give you my wallet on that one. That's such a great movie. All right, it's finally time for the top movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger has done that I like. And you haven't heard it on the list, so I'm sure you probably have guessed what it is already. If not, it is going to be Terminator 2. At least in my opinion, I think this is probably the best action movie ever made. I mean, I literally can't think of another action movie that I enjoy over Terminator 2. I mean, it's one of those few movies where the sequel outshined the original. And even worse than that is like the original, was a huge movie in its own right. Kind of like Empire Strikes Back to Star Wars. Star Wars was a huge movie, but Empire Strikes Back was even better and bigger than that. Same thing here. Like Terminator, huge movie, iconic, and then they outdid it with Terminator 2. Such an awesome movie. Same thing with the actors in there. I mean, you've got Arnold coming back. He was the bad Terminator in the first one. All of a sudden now he's John Connor's protector and savior. You've got Eddie Furlong as John Connor, kind of the outcast, delinquent a little bit. You've got Sarah Connor, who goes from the first Terminator where she's the waitress and, scared, running away, to crazy badass Sarah Connor in the second one. And come on, I mean, Robert Patrick as the bad Terminator. I mean, just amazing. I don't think they could have picked a better person. He played that character perfectly. The bad Terminator in that one. Such an awesome movie. The storyline is amazing. The acting in it is amazing. The action is amazing. Like literally everything works in that movie. There's not like a part where I'm like, you know what? They probably should have went and did this. No, like all of it is just totally amazing. I guess really the only part where I wish they would have said, you know what, we should change that is the fact that they made anything past it. I think there's a deleted scene where they're older and the Judgment Day doesn't happen. I kind of wish they'd have just put that in, and then that's it. Like no more, none of the Terminator 3s, the Salvations, the Dark Fates where John Connor doesn't matter anymore. Crap. No, just had finished it with this one. You literally could not have done any better. Obviously, it was a money grab, but literally Terminator 2 is, in my opinion, the best Arnold movie that I've seen, that I enjoy the most, and like I said, I would say probably the best action movie, period, out of every action movie. So, all right, guys, that is the end of my top 10 Arnold Schwarzenegger list. Let me know in the comments down below. Like I said, is this similar to your list? Are there movies that you think I should have had on the list, or that you think are better that I left off? Are you angry that I put Kindergarten Cop ahead of Terminator and Predator? Go ahead, let me know in the description down below. And like I said, let me know some of your favorites and any other hate you want to give me about my list. All right, guys. So thanks for watching as always, and I will see y'all in the next video.